Okay. Joel, I think it's time that we address the elephant in the room. Dun That and more on today's episode of The Real Review, so stay tuned. Ha!
Welcome to The Real Review.
Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. Everybody, I am here with Joel, has a monkey in his desk drawer, Cunningham.
I know the reference. It's just, wow. It seems weird. I don't know what it is.
It's the first thing I could think of. Yeah. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm here with Matt. I'm not Batman. Hey.
I'm not Batman. Hey.
Based upon the fact that we have Michael Keaton in this, who's definitely not Batman.
And the Penguin.
Or even Batman-esque. And the Penguin. I didn't even think of that. Holy cow.
I know.
Mind blown. Yeah, we have the Penguin in this.
This is the sequel to the Tim Burton Batman Returns.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will say Michael Keaton is known for that. Like, he gets a star, actor, celebrity or two, and he just kind of does like 3 or 4 films with them. Like,
you mean Tim Burton?
Yeah, Tim Burton. Yeah, the director. You know what I mean? Winona Ryder had her stint. Johnny Depp had his stint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just kind of like, you stick with him, he's going to make you a star. You know, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's totally true. Well, if you haven't heard today, we're going to be reviewing Dumbo. Anyways.
There it is.
So let's dive into what we do here on The Real Review, kind of break down the synopsis of who we are. Is that even a thing?
I guess it.
Anyways, okay, so what we do is you have Joel, who's maybe a little bit more cynical, critical, negative, whatever. But he just looks at things in a different lens, more deep thinking
I like my
on
coffee
the technicalities.
Black, Matt.
Yeah, okay. And I'm maybe a little bit more emotionally driven. I like things that are like fun or exciting, and definitely lean more towards like specific preferences. If something's post-apocalyptic, I'm like, I might like this more.
That is
already.
a given for you.
Yes, it is. It's totally true.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what we do is we combine those 2 reviews together. We kind of compare, contrast, and there we go. That's The Real Review.
It's amazing, man.
And thanks for coming along the journey with us. We don't pretend to know everything because we absolutely do not. So thanks for hanging with us. And Joel, why don't you tell the people how they can get connected?
Yeah, we have some great ways you can get connected to the podcast. As always, we have our website, realreviewmedia.com. We're always posting our episodes up on the website. And then additionally, we have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia. We'd love to get connected with you on there. We're always posting fun, cool, awesome things on there. We just had a trailer drop for something.
Oh, it was Joker.
Joker, which we're all, the Twitterverse and the Talkaverse is all about it, the movieverse.
Looks crazy.
Yeah, so get connected on there. We have our YouTube, which is youtube.com/therealreview, where we post our vidcast, video episodes on occasion. We're kind of staying away from that at the moment. We're renovating, I'd say. We're doing some renovation. Yes, and then additionally, Instagram, Twitter, both at Real Review Media. Last but not least, check out, well, I shouldn't say check out, but send us an email, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives.
Absolutely. We also have a contest coming up soon, so look for that post here shortly. We're going to bring someone with us to Avengers Endgame. It's going to be awesome.
Spoilers.
Yes, totally.
Spoil the contest, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Even though we needed to.
Yeah.
All right, well, that brings us right into our review for today. We're going to be talking about Dumbo, the 2019 edition, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so synopsis: a young elephant whose oversized ears enable him to fly helps save a struggling circus. But when the circus plans a new venture, Dumbo and his friends discover dark secrets beneath its shiny veneer.
Matt, I'm going to give you, just real briefly,
okay,
to get into it, before we even talk about director Tim Burton, all those people, my spoiler review for my review, I didn't like it. So anyway.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's talk about actors.
Let's talk about it, guys. So directed by Tim Burton, written by a number of different people I'm not familiar with. And then starring Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Eva Green, Alan Arkin, Nico Parker, Finlay Hobbins, Rashawn Soth, and a bunch of other people. And a monkey.
And a monkey.
So Dumbo, we all know the classic story. This one, so that cartoon, the original cartoon, there's not a lot there. I think it's like a super short. It's super short.
Yeah.
It's not very long.
The runtime is under, I think, an hour and a half.
Right. So
let me check here.
Even less than that, I think.
It's 1 hour, 4 minutes.
Right. And so they had to take some liberties here, obviously, to make it like an hour and 45-minute movie.
Yes, and liberties they did take.
Right. They did take the liberties. Let me just say,
liberties.
initial impressions, I thought it was just like mediocre to maybe slightly less than mediocre.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan. I feel like the movie just overall didn't know what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
It felt like there's too many different things. They had a lot of like really cool concepts like that were not fleshed out at all, that I'm like, that could have been a cool thing for this character in that relationship, but they didn't even touch it. So
Yeah.
and then I feel like there's not really a main character other than the elephant.
Yeah.
And even then,
At the
it's
same
like
time,
the kids maybe, but it's
yeah. I felt like the main characters was the family, that close knit, the
Yeah.
father, daughter, son, a little bit the son, more the father daughter angle was a lot more prominent there. I think the greatest to me disservice of this film and the fact that it's a sequel to an original classic.
Yeah.
It's a short kids film. The original one it goes down as one of the most original classic films of Disney age cinema. But this film's biggest disservice was the fact that it didn't feel like a movie about Dumbo.
No.
It felt like Dumbo was kind of just not to make a bad pun, but he was like there. He was along for the ride. He was just kind of flying through.
Right.
Pretty much, he was there to move the story forward for the main cast of characters.
Right.
And when you title film Dumbo, when it's based upon a pre-existing property that actually makes the film about him successfully, it's just so weird to watch a spin-off type thing, a remake, where it's like, what is this about even?
Let's do this. Okay, so let me start with what I liked. Favorite part was actually Dumbo, cute baby elephant.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, that's a cute baby elephant. And anytime Dumbo was on screen, it was like, all right, cute baby elephant.
Yeah.
Other than that, the acting was fine. The kids did a good job at Colin Farrell did his best, Southern accent, talking like this, even though I think he's Irish. Let me, I don't know, good. There were some good visual things sometimes.
Yeah, I think the visual style to me was my favorite part.
Yeah.
It
was kind of Tim Burton-esque.
It was Tim Burton-esque, and I think Tim Burton has always had a creative, if not at the times otherworldly, almost creative style of production design.
I didn't think it was overly Tim Burton though. I thought there was just elements. I was like, that's Tim Burton, but it's not too much Tim Burton.
Yeah, so after about Big Fish, that's kind of where things started to feel very Tim Burton-y to me, and very weird at times.
Yeah,
off, especially with some of the other Disney films he made.
Yeah.
I think this one felt like they kind of said, "Hey, Tim Burton, do your designs, and then we're gonna soften the edges a bit and kind of tone things down and push them down a little bit." And it felt good, I think, especially when they get into Dreamland and the visual style of that world. It felt encompassing. It felt like I was getting into almost this dreamlike environment. I think that, in a way, though, actually further upset me because it's like you set up such a beautiful world for these characters to play in.
Right.
But they're not doing anything of interest. They're not doing anything that I care about, Yeah. So anyway, I let you keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. So that's about it, honestly, as far as the good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumbo won the day for me.
I will say as well, and this is pretty common for him as well, Tim Burton, pretty good music. Pretty good. Yeah. I think overall the audio, I was paying attention to that at times just because I know Tim Burton can have pretty good sound design with a lot of his films, and especially with the music.
For sure.
And I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So, so what I was saying earlier, this is my biggest problem. I felt like this movie just didn't know what it wanted to be. And I agree with your assessment. I think it wasn't really about Dumbo as much. It is more about this family coping with loss, PTSD, but it never went there. That's the thing that I was telling about. No. It never went to that place. And I feel like there were some missed opportunities to really have some good emotionally character building relationships between, especially the family itself.
Yeah. So you had Joe and Millie, which are the boy and the girl. Yeah. And then you had Holt, who's the father.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's character.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's character. And I personally, this might just be me, I love a dynamic of sort of a family coming to terms with loss and pain and suffering, and how to take a step. And in a way, this is almost kind of a fish out of water story too at times, and I like those. The dynamic of the father-daughter was cute, but, and again, this might just be me, I felt like, unfortunately, that little girl that was playing Millie was really, really not great.
Oh, really?
And I hate to say that. I mean, that's so mean to say about a little kid, but there was just so many times where I would look at her face and I'm like, give me something here. Give me emote, feel something. There was 3 or 4 scenes where like some big action would happen on screen and her face was just like staunchly stark. It was just like flat, you know. And her role in the film was large enough that like I needed some, you know, there would be every single line would be one of 2 things, and I've said this in the past. You can tell a good or bad kid actor from sort of how many emotions, the range of emotions they're able to tap into.
Sure. And
with her character, it was literally just like slightly sad, angry, or normal.
Yeah.
And that was the 2 sides. I think the little boy Joe had a bit more of a range of action and emotion, but he was so small in the story that it really didn't. Yeah. And they tried to make this story with her as well, the whole like science thing that I never really connected in with that. It felt like they were trying to like have a political issue in the midst of this, and I'm like, this is Dumbo. Yeah, it's supposed to be about an elephant.
I know,
you know.
I know. They're like, you know, it's like, this is what our family knows. You can't learn anything except for our family, and it's really that's a part I love father-children like relationships on screen, like when they're done right, and they can have conflict and stuff like that, but they didn't really address the PTSD thing potentially with Colin Farrell's character and how that's affecting the relationship. You just have to assume it, but they never fleshed it out in a way that was realistic. And what was happening was there's like one of the first interactions that like Michael Keaton's character has. It was like the dad, Colin Farrell, was telling his daughter, you know, don't worry about the science thing. We need to focus on this. Yeah. And then Michael Keaton's like, he's like, don't ever let anybody tell you we can't do it. I'm like, he totally just bashed like Colin Farrell's like parenting right there.
Yeah. Did you hear Colin Farrell's response? He's like, well, I never said that she couldn't.
I know.
Like,
yeah. But I'm
which
like,
is funny.
But it kind of just further separated this relationship they were trying to like. I don't know.
I get
he was
that,
kind of like a doofus of a dad, I felt like. And
I agree.
But they didn't explain it in the he just got back from war.
Right.
You know?
Well, my favorite character in this probably was Michael Keaton. He felt like he had the most backstory that he was trying to work out. Yeah. And there was like little inklings of like growing up under these circumstances and the reasons for why he was this huge guy in this world of, you know, entertainment and stuff. And I thought that was interesting. But then his character, it was a total disservice to his character. By the end of the film, he just turns into this like Mad Hatter, like, you know, ripping his hair out, like, kids, I'll get you, thing. I'm like, go somewhere with him. Like, his turn was so obvious. It was so flat. It was so like, okay, I know he's gonna do this bad thing and do this evil thing. It's like
when you see it in the trailer, it's the same thing. So it's not really a spoiler, but they play like evil person music.
Exactly.
Whenever, like his introduction has like whoa, whoa.
Well, and the way they frame his shots, where they do these kind of like put him larger than life and making him look like evil with these dark and these horn-ribbed like kind of weird looking glasses. Like it was so obvious. I know it's a kids movie, so they're gonna flag and kind of put things like that. But you can do so much better even with kids movies. You don't have to make things so obvious.
Yeah, and there weren't, and I felt like there weren't any good ramp ups to like the iconic moments. Like I didn't feel sad when mom and baby got separated. Like I was kind of like, I feel bad that this baby elephant's crying, but it's not because of the separation. I felt actually more bad when the mom was like protecting Dumbo at first. I was more into that.
Well, if the story had been more about the animals, which the original was, it was a story about these animals in this zoo and how they're coming to terms with sort of the life that they live. Yeah, the circus life. This film was not about that. It was about humans dealing with this sort of otherworldly creature that happens to appear in their life. Mm-hmm. And that's like a complete disassociation from what I was expecting and sort of hoping from this film. And I will say there was some things that like annoyed me and frustrated me, and that you're going to probably think this is stupid. But again, animals that cry. Why? I never enjoy that. When I see like a live action thing that's based on human real world properties and you have animals literally shedding tears.
Joel, you have zero heart.
I must have zero heart.
Come on.
But it's just like...
Soften up a bit,
and
man.
I even looked into it. Like elephants have been known to... I believe they have tear ducts. They do cry, but there's no proof that they ever do that when they're under like sad times.
If you're listening to this, I want you to flood Joel's inbox.
I don't know.
With animals crying.
Well, it's our inbox, Matt. So
Joel's inbox with animals crying.
No, the protective thing is there with elephants. Like I know like especially with like with a baby and a herd of elephants, they are very protective towards their young, and I get that.
They never forget, Joel.
With the crying,
they never forget. They won't forget this conversation.
The other thing,
always going to be enemy
this was
to
like
elephants.
there was just 4 or 5 different things in the script. I'm just like, now why? Now, the whole fact that Colin Farrell's character Holt has this role in like the last like sort of epic climax of the movie, where they literally give him the job to do
Mm-hmm.
that is the worst for his character.
Yeah.
Literally,
Mm-hmm.
like you couldn't have picked a worse person to do this, but because he is the main character, the main action force
Yeah.
of this story, he has to do it.
Right.
I'm like, give him this job or this job. Don't,
Right.
you know what I'm trying? I can't spoil it.
Yeah. So, last thing I'll say for this is I didn't think the humor was good at all.
No.
Every time they went for a laugh or did a joke, I was like, that's being played for a joke, and I'm not laughing or even grinning at it for that matter.
The monkey kind of at times had me kind of get a
Yeah.
little bit of a chuckle.
But like,
But the arm thing, which was constantly
Yeah.
this like, it felt like a setup for some aspect,
yeah,
but it never got there. Like it constantly set up, they were trying to set up this joke of his arm not being there. And I'm
Right,
like,
right,
well,
right.
what is that leading towards? And it literally turned out to not matter.
yeah.
I mean, they gave, yeah. So that was kind
Anyways.
of dumb to me.
Dumbo.
Dumbo, yeah. The romantic sort of thing between Colette and Holt, which is like very small,
Yeah.
felt unnecessary. It didn't really feel like anybody in the story kind of like the overall story arc was there's this creature that's being misabused or treated badly, I should
Yeah.
say. And
Misabused, yes.
misabused, yeah. There's this creature, this elephant that's being treated badly, and even in the world of that time, even in like the context of that world, they suddenly all somehow decide that they need to save this elephant who's
Right.
really done nothing for them,
Right.
and just make his life better because it's worthwhile.
Yeah. Well.
It as a kids film, I get it, but again, basing this on the time period and who these characters are,
Yeah.
not again, but like basing it upon those things, that's so far away from what the story like this would be. I mean, the time period in which this takes place was not a fun time, for a lot of people in the world,
Right.
especially in America. So I don't know. I just don't understand kind of why they made
Sure.
some of the directing decisions that they did with the story.
I thought, okay, so I found some like enjoyment in watching it, but I think it was solely resting on the shoulders of that baby elephant. Like that's all most of the enjoyment I had watching the movie. I like seeing some of the interaction of some of the minor characters, but I was like, okay,
Yeah.
just like I wasn't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
I
more
don't know.
excited. Like I'm more excited around the idea of doing like a live action remake of Lion King, where it's like you have characters that are, you understand them, they talk, you can hear
Right.
them talk, and I thought that's more what this direction was going to be in,
Right.
with a bit of additional emphasis on these stars that they've brought in because they want the star appeal.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I thought this was going to be. Not, hey, here's the story of this family and this circus act and these people that are like trying to survive
Yeah.
and a Dumbo.
Yeah.
So it was a real letdown,
I
yeah.
didn't know what to think going into it, but it was okay. Yeah, I don't know. What do we rate this thing?
I'm going to give it a pretty low one. I'm
Ooh.
actually going to give it a 67.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
it's-
the only redeeming aspects
C+.
we talked about, was the production design and the music.
I'm actually gonna go. I'm not too far off of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna go C-. I'm gonna give it a 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the baby elephant. I thought there was some endearing moments, but they missed a lot of opportunities. I felt like there were so many missed opportunities
Yeah.
for you to connect with the characters, and that's like my number one thing is, am I connecting with these people?
Yeah.
I didn't really connect with the people.
I was
So,
looking for one story element that I could really connect into, and none of it. I couldn't connect into the family dynamic. I couldn't connect into the romantic relationship. I couldn't connect into Dumbo and the suffering that he was unfortunately going through because he wasn't enough in the story.
yeah,
I didn't really care about it.
Especially after like his first initial big thing that he does, he's kind of pushed to the periphery for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't even really care about the circus people and the stuff that they were going through, or Danny DeVito's character.
Yeah.
And there was just nothing about the story. I felt like I'm just kind of progressing through this to get to the end so I can kind of figure out what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it leaves you on this like final note where it's supposed to be, I guess, hopeful and kind of fun, but it actually just felt stupid to me.
Hopeful with a question mark?
Yeah, but it's like it ended up just feeling really ridiculous and stupid because the thing that worked about this film was that the original is that it's a cartoon.
Yep.
It's talking animals. It's not made to be taken super seriously. Like there's realistic stakes and interesting things happening in the story, but you get the idea that like there's no way that an elephant is going to somehow pop out with like ears that makes it fly. But in the original story, it's like he shows up with a stork. Like it's
Right.
It's silly. It's not made to be taken super seriously. So when you try and put realistic aspects to this, like, oh, now Dumbo's going back to Africa to fly with his herd. Like, it's like, what does that even, how is that going to work? Like, just, is he just going to go around pooping on people? Like, I don't know. Sorry.
And more on today's episode of The Real Review.
That's all I'll say.
D+ for Joel, C- for me. Have you guys seen Dumbo? Have you seen it? Did you like it? What did you think about it? This movie's almost a week old, right?
Yeah.
So let us know if you had a chance to run out to theaters, check this thing out. Are we totally off our rockers here?
Are we totally off our rockers here?
Are we like out of our minds? Is this movie better than what we think it is? Yeah. Tell us. Please email us, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. But other than that, I mean, anything else you want to add about the movie?
Last thing I want to say, it's not about the movie. This is about Tim Burton in general. I am a huge Tim Burton fan.
Are you?
Some of my favorites, Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Scissorhands, the Batman 1 and 2. Some of the classics of like the 90s kind of generation, 80s and 90s. He's done some great movies, and it's sad to me. It's sad to see where he's come to.
Oh, you just wanted to make a comment on that. It's sad to see where he's, gone with this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Anyways, so please let us know what you thought about it. Reach out to us. You can also connect with us again, facebook.com/Real Review Media, Instagram, Twitter @Real Review Media, youtube.com/The Real Review, and then email us realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Again, let us know. This week we got a couple other movies coming up. I think Shazam's this weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about that.
Shazam.
I'm pretty excited about that movie, actually. I'm a huge Zachary Levi fan.
Yeah, I got to meet him at WonderCon.
That is awesome.
Kind of. Like, he looked at me, I was like, hey! And he was like, oh,
we locked eyes from across the room, and then he went away.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyways, but that's all I got for today. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, well, it's been real.
It's been real.